Hello everybody, welcome to a new episode of Best of British Blackwell. This is the first of the year, so Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a little while since I posted a video. That's mainly because I just wanted to relax a little bit over the festive period. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas holiday and a wonderful New Year. Unfortunately, obviously back in the UK, we're back in lockdown, which means schooling kids at home, not being able to go out. So I thought I'd just post a video here to show you a lovely bit of dinner that I'm making tonight. Nice and simple, really. I'm going to be making some Italian style Tuscan chicken. Looks like a lot of ingredients here, looks like hard work. It's really about 30 minutes worth. So come over, have a look at the ingredients, let's make a start. Cheers. Okay, so here we go. These are our ingredients. Now, it looks like a lot, doesn't it? But I pretty much guarantee you that everything on this board that you see here, you've got lying around in the kitchen somewhere. Let's start off with the chicken. You just need 3, you can use 4, however many chicken breasts you want, however many you're cooking for. I've got 3 large chicken breasts here. You're going to need some sun-dried tomatoes. This is just one kind of shop-bought punnet, if you like. We're going to use the oil in there as well, so we won't let that go to waste. You're going to need some tomato puree. You're going to need an onion, a red pepper. You're going to need some Parmesan cheese. You're going to need a little bit of double cream. Let's get on to our herbs and so on. You're going to need some dried thyme, some dried oregano. You're going to need some paprika. I'm using the sweet paprika. You can use the hot paprika as well if you want, but it doesn't add as much of a flavour profile. This is as much for colouring as it is for taste, so try to use the sweet one if you can. I have got 2 minced or crushed garlic cloves in there. I have got around about 200 mils of chicken stock. I've got around about 150 mils of white wine. Must have plenty of that lying around the house after Christmas. I've also got a little bit of flat leaf parsley. In here is just my herbs that I talked about here earlier. And then finally, what we've got is a little bit of flour and a couple of eggs, because we are going to dredge our chicken in the flour, in some seasoned flour and some eggs first. That's the first stage of this recipe, is preparing our flour. So let's make a start. Okay, so the first stage of our recipe is to get our chicken ready. And what we're going to do is we're going to fry this off in a little bit of flour, in a seasoned flour. So to season this flour, I've got my spice mix in here. Let me tell you what the spice mix is. It's 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. Straight in there, and really simply just give that a little bit of a turn, and that is going to be pretty much good to go. Next thing you're going to need is a couple of eggs. We're going to use this to coat the chicken before we put it in the flour. And then all we do with this is beat these eggs. I find these little plastic trays, which I picked up from my local pound shop. I've had them years. I find them perfect for this kind of flour dipping. There we go. What we'll do now is we'll get a pan on the heat. We'll take this over to the stove so it's a little bit closer, and we'll get our chicken dipped and seasoned off. Okay, so I've got a pan on the heat over here. This is a medium to high heat. We're going to want to seal these chicken pieces. So with some nice clean hands, you can't see this, I'm doing this off camera. You'd have seen me do this quite a lot. I'm just dipping this chicken breast straight into the egg wash. You can probably see here that I've got the flour. I'm going to dip it into the flour. And then I'm going to double dredge. I'm going to go back into the egg. Just make sure all this chicken is covered. Back into the egg, cover it over again. Beautiful. We're looking to get a nice seal and a nice colour on this chicken. Just make sure we've got plenty of coverage over there, and just get these chicken breasts frying off in this pan. I'm going to get these other 2 in here, and I'm going to show you what I want these chicken breasts to look like before you take them off the heat. Okay, so these chicken breasts have been frying away now for about 4 minutes. We're ready to turn the first one over. and that is what you're looking for. You can see kind of orangey colour, that's that paprika in there, just taking on a little bit of char. That's all. We're not looking to cook these all the way through. We're just looking to get that colour and that kind of definition on them. Okay, so our chicken pieces are now ready to come off. All I'm going to do is take them from this pan, transfer them into an oven dish. Now these go in the oven for about 20 minutes on 160. In that time, I'm going to turn this pan right down. Let that pan cool a little bit, but we're going to continue to use this pan to cook the rest of our dish. Don't lose any of those ingredients in there. Okay, so our pan has cooled down now a little bit. I'm going to add some oil to it. Now, usually you would use olive oil, but look at these sun-dried tomatoes. They come in some olive oil, and we do not want to waste that. So let's get that little bit of olive oil in there. Pan still sizzling away nicely. Little bits of garlic are in that olive oil as well. So that's wonderful. It's all going to add to the flavour. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our onion, which we've just sliced. We've not done anything fancy with it. We do still want to be able to taste and feel the texture of that onion. So we haven't chopped it down too thin. And what we want to do with this is just gently fry it off. So this pan now is on number 3. That would represent a low heat. And we just want to sweat these onions down and make them go nice and soft. Okay, so our onions are really nice and soft now. And it's at this stage we keep the same level of heat on the pan. We get our 2 minced garlic cloves in here. You don't want to add the garlic cloves to a really hot pan because they will just burn, and nobody needs that. It's also at this stage that we're going to start to add some of our other herbs and spices in here. So in my spice pot here, I've got half a teaspoon of oregano and another whole teaspoon of paprika. That's going to give us a beautiful colour. Now what we're also going to do is get our sun-dried tomatoes in here. This is a whole pot of these. So there's between 130 and 150 grams of sun-dried tomatoes in there. But look already, the paprika's creating that beautiful deep red colour, deep orange colour that we're looking for. And again, just keep it on a nice medium heat, keep moving it around and let everything soften nice and slowly. Now that everything's continued to kind of bind together and soften, we've got these beautiful tomatoes in there, we're going to add to the colour, add to the vibrancy by adding this sliced red pepper. Again, treat this like you do the onions, let them soften down on a nice gentle heat. We're only about 15 minutes into this whole cook now, and you know, we're pretty much done. We've built up those flavour profiles. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. As you can see, everything now is starting to soften down. These peppers have been in for the last 2 or 3 minutes. We don't want to overcook them. We still want a little bit of bite on the veg that's in here. Now what we're going to do is start to build this sauce up that goes with this. You see we've got a beautiful kind of orangey paprika olive oil in there. What we want to do now is build up the flavour of this sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a really nice big squeeze of tomato paste or tomato puree in here. That's going to add a little bit to the bitterness. Bear in mind we've got a nice sweet paprika in there already. Then we're going to add some wine in here. And we're just going to let that wine deglaze the pan. So obviously we fried the chicken off in the pan and we let that chicken char around the outside a little bit. So we're going to let this wine take on some of the flavours of the chicken and some of the coating of the chicken. And we're also going to let this pick up some of that beautiful tomato puree as well. So we've got a lovely sauce going on. As you can see, we've already started to build up quite a nice layer of sauce in there. We're simmering away now. This is simmered away for a couple of minutes. That's just burnt off a little bit of the alcohol in the wine. You don't want that to be too bitter. Now we're going to go straight in with our chicken stock. This is beautiful chicken stock here. Nice and rich. Again, we're going to leave this now just to let everything in this pan steep in those juices. Bring this to another simmer. let this simmer for 5 minutes. Okay, so we're at the stage now where we're going to add an ingredient along with some others, which I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the video. For a little bit of greenery, we're going to be adding some baby leaf spinach, or just some normal spinach into this, but we're not going to do that just yet. It's at this stage here that we're going to give this a season. Decent crack of black pepper, decent crack of salt. Give it just a little bit of a stir. Now we're going to go in with the ingredients that are going to turn this from a pretty basic onion, tomato and pepper sauce, from a pretty basic onion, tomato and pepper sauce into something absolutely superb. We're going to get our double cream. There's a pot here, and this is, how much have I got here? This is 300 mils. Might not use all of it, just going to go in with about 2/3 at the moment, just to see the kind of reaction that has on this dish. That looks good to me. I'm not going to add any more in there just yet, but can you see the moment I poured that in there, how that thickened up this whole dish? You know, that sauce obviously stopped simmering because I lowered the temperature very quickly, but you know, it just added, look at the texture of it now, it's just so much thicker. To thicken that up even more, I've got some beautiful fresh grated Parmesan, and I'm going to pour a decent load in there. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much that is in terms of weight, mainly because I don't know, but secondly because I think that with something like Parmesan, it's down to personal preference. It's just down to how much you like. I like a pretty average amount, some people like loads and loads, but look at that now. Look at how that sauce has just took on that beautiful creamy consistency. We're going to let this cook out a little bit just before we add our spinach leaves in there. So this has been cooking down now, as you can see, we're starting to steam. That's the perfect time to get some of this spinach in here. Now don't be shy with this spinach. You'll put it in there and you'll think to yourself, that's far too much. This stuff wilts down to pretty much nothing. So get that all in there. There's about 100 grams worth of spinach in there. Starts off like that and then it just wilts down to nothing at all. So get it on there, let it start to take on that heat, give it a good stir, and then we're going to be really close to getting our chicken back in there. That's the key part. Okay, now just take a look at this. Look what happened to that spinach. It's wilted down to pretty much nothing, but look at the kind of the texture and the colour that it just adds to this dish. Now the chicken came out of the oven about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Once it reached temperature, we're going to take it out of the roasting dish that it was in, and we're just going to put this chicken straight back into this mega sauce. We're going to let this cook away now for about another 2-3 minutes, no more than that. The chicken's still hot. Okay, so here we go. About 35-40 minutes into our cook, we're done. We've got a beautiful Tuscan chicken made with some lovely onions, peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, beautiful fresh chicken in there, some lovely cream and Parmesan sauce. All we need to do now, just get a little bit of salt and pepper on there. And then I'm going to finish this off. Now you'll notice I don't usually do this with my dishes. I don't do the chefy kind of touch on here, but parsley really does complement this dish wonderfully. So get a bit of fresh parsley on there. So here we go, this is how I'm serving this up. Let's take that piece of chicken off first. Just give that pride of place on that plate. Let's now get a beautiful bit of that sauce with those tomatoes on there. And they've just got to go straight over the top. Check this out. How to make your food look beautiful, you know, in just 40 minutes. I don't think that looks half bad, to be honest with you. So there we have it. This is beautiful Tuscan chicken, served with some lovely tender stem broccoli, some rosemary and garlic, roasted potatoes and carrots. I'm going to top those up with just a little bit of balsamic, with some balsamic going over the top there. Check that out. That is as pretty as a picture, and that is going to taste absolutely divine. So there we have it, everyone. That's the first video of 2021. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it nice and simple. Please do give it a go. It's a beautiful dish. It tastes absolutely fantastic. I know we're all in lockdown, and I know that the world is full of bad news at the moment, but keep the faith. 2021 is going to be a wonderful year. I'm raising a glass to you all. There'll be plenty more videos from me. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Stay safe.